And welcome to In the Zone's Race Talk Live online tonight. Bobby Potts with you, Bill Grit here with you, Chuck's Bar and Grill, 600 North Santa Fe. Great crowd here tonight. Come on down, join us. Been a couple weeks since we've seen you. That's by design, but lots of racing going around. We got a great show lined up for tonight. Blake McMillan's here with us from way up north, drives a midget, been involved in racing for forever. Should be a fantastic program.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear some stories from Blake. You
yeah.
bet.
You know, we had a friend of him from Deschler, Hebron? Hebron. Dusty Blake was going to be here.
He's actually from Belvedere. But
Belvedere? Okay, Hebron's close by.
But
it's his birthday today, so...
he didn't want to come spend his birthday with us.
I think he's married too, right?
I think he would have loved to spend his birthday with us. He had some family obligations that he'd committed to.
And that's how that works.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Bobby,
I understand.
Look,
I understand.
And Blake, jump in here at any time. But Bobby, you know, let's go back to Daytona 500. We haven't talked to the folks since then.
Right.
What'd you think? Let's go to the truck race first. Did you see it? You didn't see it.
Part of it, yeah.
Our friend Christopher Bell took a wild ride. We'll go there.
Yeah, I seen that part.
12 rolls.
And he got banged up on pit road, too, so he had a rough day all the way around. Yeah.
Good to see him in a full-time ride. I can't remember. Rico had problems, too, in that race.
He got caught up in that big crash there at the end.
Good to see Christopher Bell walk out of that car. I didn't like the way the halo collapsed around the top, but those kind of tumbles, it's going to happen.
Boy,
rather see that happen than him get hurt.
That was a nasty one, you bet.
Yeah. Did you happen to see that race at all?
Yeah.
Hold that microphone up for me.
I honestly tuned in basically right when they had the restart and witnessed the wreck. And you talk about the cage kind of caving. Sometimes maybe a really hard blow, that little bit of give, that's better on
help.
The
driver than it is. So the car is toast anyhow. We don't care about it.
You want it to give a little.
Yeah.
You're right.
That the safer barriers, the same way. You want stuff to give a little bit sometimes. Sudden impacts. Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s deal.
We've seen the results of that.
Yep.
It was good to see him get out of the car and walk away. That's the most important thing right there.
Exactly.
And we've had Chris on our program, runs a midget from time to time. And, And Rico's going to have some success, I'm sure.
I think he's going to go a long ways, I believe.
Oh yeah, he's not stopping here.
I look for him to be another Eric Jones, I think.
And what about Christopher Bell? He's pretty talented as well.
That's who I was talking about.
Okay, I thought you switched over to Rico for a minute.
Yeah, well, Rico too, yeah.
And you know what about those guys is I hope they keep what they have. They're really nice guys. You can talk to them, you can approach them. I hope they keep that. I hope that stays with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes, the fans get a little overwhelming.
The demands of the sport.
Yeah, and it kind of gets them to running and hiding sometimes, but hopefully they won't.
Atlanta now last weekend?
Go ahead.
Bell was running like fourth or they were too wide after a restart. He was like on the inside of the second row. Got into his teammate in the left rear coming off the corner. I don't think just got a run better than he expected. Turned his teammate down into Matt Crafton. Crafton hit the outside wall hard. Bell got through it. Started off, I think, back on fourth place on the restart. Got right to the lead. Ran about 10 laps, leading with 15 to go. Blew a right front tire and hit the wall. And he hit the wall harder probably than he hit in the Daytona roll.
Yep.
Really?
In any of that. So that was scary. I see his mom posting on Facebook a lot, Kathy.
Right.
And she was talking about it was her birthday that day and talking about it's taking years off her life. And then I guarantee you after seeing that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those sparks started flying, truck went up the hill, and boom.
You could see it lose the tire.
And you could see the safer barrier give, and the truck, that was one of those, it would have been pretty bad had there not been. If that was concrete that he hit, no doubt about it.
Junior comes home in second.
Yeah. Seen that. Yep. That was a good run for him. That race was the slipping and sliding and burning up tires. That was kind of exciting, kind of cool.
That was way better than the Daytona.
Yeah, it was.
I was totally disappointed with Daytona.
Yeah.
I don't like the caution in the truck series at all.
Right.
And I didn't. The only thing good about the Daytona 500 was the finish.
I haven't got to watch the
That's a
Atlanta
plate
race.
I know.
Every plate race.
I know. I hate
Watch
plate.
the first 25 and the last 25 or 30.
And you got it covered.
You got it.
As much as I hate pavement racing, I've been standing up on the couch at the end of a plate race, though, jumping up and down, cheering for someone.
You got to
It's
admit.
somebody different every week, but it's somebody.
Yep.
You got to admit, the finish was probably the best finish I've seen in a long time when it comes to plate racing.
Oh yeah. Yep. Closest finish ever. They
Yeah.
said, I forget how many thousandths of a second it was, but
Dale Jr., I heard a deal today about just a clip from him after finishing second. He said everybody talked about the racing back in the 80s and 90s was, that was when it was the best in NASCAR. And he says, today, slipping and sliding on this slick track without the downforce, he said that was racing. That's what it's like. He says that's what you saw today.
he said he had a blast. He said
And that's what the fans want.
Yep.
NASCAR's gotten to the point to where they're not letting the TV cameras show the stands. There's not a lot of – they're not filling them like they used to.
They were kind of thin, weren't they?
It ain't pretty.
Yep.
They got to do something, and I think that Atlanta race was pretty good.
Yep. That was cool watching the aerial view of the guys going through the corners. I mean, those cars weren't never straight.
No.
No.
They should have come and talked to you after the hot lap session. That's what they should have
They
done.
had their nose pointed toward the infield.
Yeah, that's what Bobby's been telling me all summer long.
He'd have been raising a left rear bar.
He said, you got to point the nose to the infield. You can't drive it straight like you've been doing. I finally got it to happen. He needs to go talk to these guys and tell them how to do it.
I agree with him. I've been told the same thing. You're not as sideways as you think. You need to hang that out a little. I'm like, man, I don't want to be that guy that spins out and takes out 4 other cars. I just don't want that to be me.
I get that. I didn't want it to be me either, but when your second pit crew chief comes over and yells at you because you're not pointed toward the infield, you got to do something.
If I'm going to work my butt off, I want you to stand on the gas, buddy.
That's it too. Yeah, I got all of that. I said, "What do I do?" And he said, "Drive it." I said, "Okay." And every week I get the
he
same
comes
lecture.
over.
We got rivets.
He wants to know about moving bars and changing shocks and springs. Just smoke her in there and stand on the gas.
You want him to move the bar between the carburetor and the throttle pedal. That's what you're wanting him to move, right?
Ouch.
I've been there. Trust me.
We got it. We finally got it. Did we not?
You got better there toward the end.
Hit that rev chip a couple times.
I did finally. Gonna change gears this year. That's the change we're making. Holy cow! How do we get onto this? Anyhow, Bobby, they need to go talk to Bobby because that's what he tells them. Point the nose to the infield. You got this. Did you like it? Did you like the racing though?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think so far with what you've seen? 2 races in.
I think it's going to be good. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting.
Cautions in the truck race. What do you think of those?
Well, I didn't get to watch the Atlanta race. Did they have the 20-minute deal or?
Yeah,
they did. I didn't watch
like I said,
it.
that was one of those I tuned in. I knew it was on.
Tuned
there was
in and
just
tuned
a few
out.
left.
Tuned in and tuned out.
There was a few left, and Bell wrecked, and I thought,
that was it, huh?
yeah.
Oh, by the way, here's a plug. Chris Bell's mom's got their motorhome up for sale. They don't need it anymore.
I saw that.
Yeah, so somebody looking for a nice motorhome.
I bet that'd be a nice one.
It's a nice one.
Investment.
Yeah. Hey, this used to be Chris Bell's. Christopher Bell's. That's what he wants.
Definitely.
Yep.
Anything else? Anything else you want to cover? We're getting close to race season here.
Got Beatrice coming up here in a couple weekend after this.
So we'll cover that one when we come back in a couple of weeks.
Hope the weather stays like it's been.
I've been there and seen it snow. Been there and seen them cover it, cancel it from 2 days to 1 day to.
Yep.
It's always a good time though.
I plan on making the Friday night show. Got a wedding to go to on Saturday.
Do you?
Kelly and Kelly are getting married.
Kelly and Kelly. Oh,
Kelly and Kelly.
Kelly and Kelly, yeah.
Kelly Peel and Kelly Carson.
Yeah.
Are getting married here in a couple
2
weeks. So, yep. They're starting off the racing season by getting married.
I guess
I probably should say.
No, come on.
Sounds like you're cutting in the budget a little early.
Budgets are important to racers.
I know.
Yeah.
You should check out the commodity prices. On the farm. That's
Farm.
You're talking about Beatrice. You're gonna? Do you guys taking the car? Or
No, we're probably just going to be going to watch
Are you gonna be up there?
our first.
I'll go. I'm gonna go watch. They don't run my
I
class
think our
there,
first show
so.
will be Hayes. Probably it's in between Beatrice and Salina's.
Sunflower Classic.
First. Yep. So we'll probably
That'll
hit
be a
that
good
one
race
first.
too.
and-
I need to go check that race out
And
because we
Salina.
raced there a couple of times this summer.
There's as many
Yep.
good spring racing options in March and April this
Boy,
year.
I know
as-
it seems like
as I
they start
remember.
earlier and earlier every year.
I know.
Which, yeah, with the way we had Salina started out last year, they might as well start early because
They could have started in
you
February.
never know.
Talking about Dusty Blake, he told me today on the phone that he flipped the calendar to the 1st of March and says, "There's not enough blocks between today and that race for my car." he's sure
He's
that
not
he's not
ready,
going to
yeah.
make it. He'd like to go a month later for the Nebraska Duel. We're going to run a night it's April, I think, 11th and 12th. Is that right?
Okay.
Or 8th and 9th, one of the two. I'd have to check for sure. But it's a Friday night at Beatrice and Saturday night at Deschler.
Oh, cool.
And I know sport mods are 1,000 to win both nights.
Wow.
So that'll be quite a show.
Yeah. That's always kind of neat when tracks get together and work together like
Well,
that and have a
Deschler's-
little weekend.
Had a couple trailer races the last few years, during their fair days or whatever,
Yeah.
and they've run sport mods and they've got a decent car count. They've had a lot of guys wanting to run over there again.
Yeah.
And I love that place. Back when we used to run there, it was every Sunday night, and they start at 6 o'clock at night. By feature time, it'd be dark, it'd be over, and you'd head home. And Deschler was one of those places that was sad to see close, just like every other place.
They're all sad to see close, but
Yep.
now they're talking about messing with the state fair. And we'll talk about that for just a quick second. Big half-mile track. Do you think their days are numbered, guys? I mean, Belleville's down to a couple shows this year. Is it? What is it? What is it? Personally,
I don't know.
here, I'll throw this out there just for the start of this. I don't like daytime races. I never have. I don't know if it's
Right.
my eyes or what it is. I don't like daytime races. And the state fair is always running the daytime.
Right.
Yeah, the features get dark, yeah, but what do you think? What is it, the big half mile? Is it flat? Is it no cars? What happened?
I just think the action part of it is not as high as
Definitely.
on a little quarter mile or 3/8. I mean, you get to see the speed, get to see the cars go fast, but as far as the running side by side and door to door, you don't see a whole lot of that.
Half
on
mile
a
track.
big half
C-Ray
miles.
does a good job of preparing it and running the program.
Yep.
But it's just a big flat half mile with lots
Yeah.
of speed and no side by side action. Is that what you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. That's
The crowd just hasn't been there like it used to be.
I think daytime racing. I mean, I've seen that on people talking about racing across the United States, or even around here, that don't even do it.
Yeah.
Just it seems like it always becomes
One lane.
one fast
One
line.
lane.
It's usually dry, even sometimes rubber down.
You think the sun has a lot to do with that
Well,
during the
just-
day, or
Probably.
burns up tires.
There's just something
It
about the night
does.
when the dew sets in and things that the moisture's going to come back up, and that's where the grip's coming from. You
Yep.
know, and it as night falls in, the track doesn't dry out. It starts coming back the other way.
It does.
You,
It-
you don't lose ground like
didn't
you
ever-
would during the day.
I never
you're
believed
never going
that.
to gain that.
I never believed that, Blake. But you're right. The moisture when the dew's, it does. Even in the middle of summer, the track will come back.
Like I said,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't come back, you stop losing the ground you do when the sun and the wind's hitting it.
Yeah.
But
And-
the half-mile tracks are so fast, from my experience, that it's harder to carry the kind of speed you need to carry and race side by side. It's more like NASCAR. Sometimes you catch a guy, and if you can get a run on him, you pass him. But you don't just go lap after lap side by side, because
Right.
you're going 30, 40 mile an hour faster than what you're used to racing around Salina or your normal, Hayes or even Mayette. I mean, it's fast, but it's a different kind of
Right.
fast. It's a different kind of, when you go in the corner, then
That place has got some
It's a little
banking. It
racy
kind of holds you
there,
there,
Yeah.
And it's a shame because the Nationals have lost their luster. Nothing on on anybody that's running it, but it used to be packed full of cars,
Yeah.
and it used to be packed full of people. And it's
People,
just
yeah.
times have changed. Everybody's spending their entertainment dollars somewhere else, and the daytime stuff just doesn't seem to carry as much as it used to.
Yeah, I remember when I look forward to going to the Hutchinson Nationals every year, the fairgrounds. It was always, I don't know why, I always enjoyed it because it was always like 120 degrees.
Yeah. you weren't working on it then. That's probably what it was.
But
see, I think I'm young enough that there was never a big draw to a race like that for me. I was probably more of a state line. I'm more in, a lot of the races I've been to is probably more north than south.
Right.
But that's not a race I've ever thought about being, something, because it just kind of, like you said, it just doesn't have the draw it had, and I don't know enough about the place or what goes on there to know what it would take to.
It's kind of also, being involved with IMCA and seeing all the cars, and they're running under the NCRA banner and having different type of cars.
C-Ray wants to be on the show sometime. We need to get him scheduled, and I thought we'd do him, we'll get together and do that. But he does a good job with that, and he is an island, now. He's the only guy running non-IMCA rules. Doesn't want to do it, won't do it, isn't going to do it, so his cars are what he's got.
And he feels that, like, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. He's made it work all these years, and he's still doing fine. But
it's kind of surrounded him now.
And it's
we're getting
the
more and more
boundaries
IMCA
are kind of
tracks.
closing in on him.
They're squeezing him.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out.
Yep.
But it's a shame. I hate to see him destroy that place. I hate to see it tear down. If they change it to 3/8 mile, I don't know if it'd help it or not, but it might be, it might give the fair board some more room for some more rides or whatever they want to do. I think that's a good option.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are, or what they're thinking is. What they got going there.
Blake, what about Belleville? They're down to just a few shows this year. What's this? What do you think the story is there?
Well, we've heard that story for years.
And I don't want to throw you under the bus or anything.
The friends of mine, friends of mine from Belleville, friends of mine on the fair board.
Right.
The last thing they want to hear at this point is it's a motor eating track, because that has given them a terrible name. It's killed the car count.
Yeah.
Now you got crate motors and crate racing, and honestly, to me, that's probably what Belleville needs. I've never been that. I have a crate motor in my modified. I understand what it's all about, and I'm probably on that team now, although I still wish I had a buddy or two that I could go have a beer with uptown that we're building a couple motors, and we're putting this cam and that crank and doing this and that to these heads. That's so sad,
Yeah.
But I'm not putting down the crate deal, because I know a lot of good people that run crates and are having more success because they're not chasing so-and-so that has a motor that's worth $8,000 and you can't do it, because if you buy that $8,000 motor, you're sacrificing on your chassis, your tires, your shocks, so there's a serious place for it. And I think the big tracks, the crate racing, is probably going to be more what they need to lean towards because of that, because you're going to see the rev chips and things, and those motors are built to last. You're not going to have that issue. It'd
be kind of like the Daytona thing. Everybody's got the same horsepower. They'll kind of all be running together. It's
You're still going to have guys that can tune their stuff better, that have better shocks and things. Sure. But to know that you're not getting out horsepowered, and that guy's got the exact same money in his motor, there is some value to that. I would never deny that.
What do you think? You think a crate? I know they're going to hate to hear this part. But you think a crate can survive up there?
Well, they did.
They did last year.
Ask Dan and Delbert.
Yeah.
They even tested there.
They'd be the guys that could really tell you, because Delbert Smith has got as many laps there as anybody I can think of.
Right.
And, if he's equal with a crate motor, I guarantee you he'd be the type to tell you that, that is the way to go. We can all race. We can set our chassis the way we want to. And the guy that, the driver and the guy that knows how to set up his car is going to win, and it's not going to be about a motor. Right. And then Belleville's not going to be talked down because the motor isn't the problem anymore. But if you start blowing them up and sticking valves and things, then maybe that's an issue there too. I can't guarantee it.
I know.
I'm just saying that.
I know.
You look around a little bit. Daschler was dead, and it's kind of coming back alive. Salina, we thought maybe. Minneapolis is still sitting there. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. When it comes to tracks, I think, things come and go. And right now, the big half miles are kind of fading a little, but, as long as they don't knock down the grandstands and tear out the track,
yeah,
we can still race
there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens up at Belleville this year. Blake, let's talk about you. What you got you in start? You predominantly drive a midget. I know you still have the sport mod.
Well, yeah, that was a Dusty Blake deal too. He had 2 cars, and we kind of worked out a deal last year to run them both some. And so I was gonna sort of almost rent his car, and that was to get some and to go midget racing. Since there's not a lot of opportunities to do that, I wanted to be racing something. Well, we found out after racing at Beatrice the first night last year on June 19th that we didn't have enough resources to race 2 cars at the same time on the same track.
Sure.
Both cars were ready to go and compete, but you need 8 shocks, 8 tires, 8 springs. Yeah, both cars are turnkey. Both cars are capable of going out and doing what you need to do, but when you stretch all that stuff so thin and then you want to make some adjustments and you got stagger, we found out that wasn't probably going to work out. And the more we got to thinking and talking about it, I ended up just buying the car from him that I was going to be running, and now that's what's sitting down there ready to go. It's got the old 602 in it, and so hopefully one of these nights at Salina we can park beside you.
Come on down.
It's kind of sad you're going away from the orange and black, because I got nice black and orange body on that thing ready to rock and roll this year. So, but the midget, honestly, like I said, my grandpa, I would say, took me to probably one of my first dirt track races, and it was at Belleville. It was the Midget Nationals. Like I said, I don't remember that much about it other than how awesome I thought it was. Kind of like we all did the first, and I just kind of knew that was my deal, and I started going after that, and it just kind of became a thing. When they started the Chad McDaniel Memorial at Beloit, and I'd raced at Beloit I'd run my mod there. We had a couple exhibition races there a time or two.
Sure.
And that was fun. It was small and it was close quarters, but it was sure fun driving that thing in there wide open, and you just go back. It's kind of like Boone. You just drive it in there, you almost spin out, and then you're heading down the straightaway again. But
almost spin out. I like that.
Yeah, it feels like you are, and then all of a sudden you straighten it up and like, hey, we're heading towards turn 3. But then I ran a mini sprint for a while, and ran a Beloit a lot there. And like I said, when I saw some midget races at Beloit, I just kind of thought, I think I could probably do that. I mean, I don't know if I can do it well, but I can be one of the guys that's out there and not look, that's kind of how we look at it, right? Like, I can be one of them guys that's out there, look like I belong.
That's right.
I'm probably not going to be,
Hey, wait a minute. I show up thinking I can win.
Well, you need that attitude. You win one, we'll say, Bill, you're one of them guys. You're a threat to win. Till then, you need to go over and start peeking under Dan and Delbert's
stealing some speed secrets.
But,
I don't know what those guys. I don't know. You'd have to look, because I think if you asked them, they'd tell you the opposite.
Well, them guys have helped me out. I used to think Delbert was kind of one of my original, heroes back in the day. I still have a hero card of him, and he was at my shop one time, and like, looky there, and he couldn't, it'd been a long time since he'd seen one of them. I said, man, I'll never get rid of that thing. I'll never forget the night he gave that to me after a race, But it's kind of crazy, because I don't know if guys like Delbert really think they're somebody's, racing hero. I mean, to me, he was like a Dale Earnhardt, because I didn't pay much attention to NASCAR, but I'd been to a lot of races, and, a couple buddies of mine, we'd drive by that shop in Belleville, look through the windows. I mean, that was, when I was young, that was, like you said, he was the king.
And they were one of the first ones in the area with that cool hauler, too.
Oh, definitely. But always sit
sit outside the shop, and Delbert hot lapped one of my late models for me one time. And he would. I think they would shoot you straight.
I was at a 5-year class reunion, and Troy Fry and Tyler, they were racing at Minneapolis, and I had a car that year, and it was sitting. They had Troy and Tyler had helped me set it up, and Delbert was around once in a while, and he's always giving me heck about not racing enough, and how I was always letting my wife tell me what we were going to do instead of going racing. And that's a whole other story. She's over there. I keep telling her to get me another beer, and she's just ignoring me.
Yeah. He wants another drink.
I need to send her a text with those emoticons.
Look at her. She's
like, I want one too. But no, I got a text message one night at my class reunion, party. It's like, Delbert brought your car down tonight. He won the heat race. and I get the text, and I'm thinking, well, that'd be so awesome, but yet I'm not real sure if I'm okay with this. And then after a while, there's 2 or 3 people involved, and another guy said, well, I'm really sorry about your car. And I'm like, what? And he says, well, Delbert and I got into it in the feature, and he made me mad, so the next corner I took him out, and your car's pretty much totaled. And at this point, I kind of realized, that, all right, they're getting a little extreme on me.
This is all in good fun
but it really was, a pretty good story, because, like I said, I'm just keep getting text messages, and I'm trying to have fun, and I'm thinking, I really want to go down to Minneapolis.
I need to go see my car.
Delbert Smith's racing my car. Why am I not there?
That's right. I want to be there.
And then they call me saying, I'm sorry, man, we totaled it out. It's like, yeah, those guys will definitely give you all the help you need.
So what are you going to do this year? Are you going to race both?
Well, like I said, I don't want to cry and complain, but the farming commodities right now have literally kind of gone to a point where it's cutting into my racing schedule just a little bit. But cars are ready to go. Everything's good to go. But, that night after night deal, that's where probably, some of those weekly nights might cut out, and just going to do a few more. Try and do the Beatrice and Deschler deal in April. And, want to get down here a little bit throughout the year, probably go out to Hayes a little bit. As far as the midget, I proved that I don't have big enough testicular fortitude to run the Belleville Midget Nationals again. That was really fun to go out. I mean, I got to qualify and do it all, but it was obvious that I didn't have enough time in the midget to be able to just stand on the gas. And Bill was there 2 nights later, and Garrett Hood ran my car and put it in the show and ran well, and we had a blast. I hit the wall in Megan's Tahoe in turn 3 leaving.
Yeah, leaving.
Did you witness?
No, I was there. Yeah, that was a night.
That's a story that I hear every time.
That was a night. See, she could hear us right now. She would be over here.
My adrenaline was pretty pumped. I literally got that $1,200 check for qualifying.
Yeah.
Midget Nationals, and handed a couple $100 bills to Garrett, and left there all happy. And we literally went out the back exit instead of the front to leave the track. And I was telling the people with us how, you got to be right up here against the wall. And about that time, I felt and we literally,
scuffed the wall.
Yeah, I mean, they were clear down in turn 1, parked, and every one of them heard it, saw it. And we're going, whoa. But we got home, and the bumper was still attached. And
that's a good night of racing. Everything's still there.
Yeah. Well, Garrett hit the wall in my car in the heat race.
Yeah.
And so, I just kind of felt like maybe
pay you back.
If he's going to do that, I should probably prove I can too.
But that was a good time, though.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. This summer, running the Chad McDaniel race with Garrett, letting him where he had kind of some issues with his car and his engine, getting everything together. It honestly, it meant more to me to have him be a part of that race and to run my car than it would have meant to me to run it. And knowing I'm going to run it this year, and he's going to have his car, crossing our fingers, but.
Yeah, he's still dealing with issues on his car.
He'll get it back. His engine's being rebuilt, and he's going to get it back. He's got a brand new Boss chassis sitting there.
Yeah.
And he's going to bolt it all together, and we're going to go practice in June and July. And when them guys get here 1st of August, we're going to be ready to run and make the show.
There you go.
That's the plan, is just make the show and be a part of it and just have fun. That midget deal, you got to be out there to have fun, because if you're thinking you're going to win and be competitive against some of them guys, I mean, you're pushing your.
I was never big into midget racing until I met you guys. Chad McDaniel, Garrett Hood. And I'd never even ventured up. I'd heard about it, but I'd never ventured up in the heyday to Belleville to watch the Midget Nationals. It wasn't until years later when I went up there, and of course now with Chad's race, it's kind of fun. You guys, it's a wide range of people that come to that, and there's a wide range of people that come to Chad's race in Beloit.
there's a wide range of people that probably don't care so much there's a race going on. That it's a really fun group of people that want to come and hang out, and
Maybe I should stay longer.
kind of like here at Chuck's Bar. Just come down,
Come down
have a
and hang
cold
out with
one,
us.
and you're going to meet a lot of cool people and realize there's a reason you should have been here already.
That's right.
But yeah, that's definitely fun. I haven't known Garrett that long, but do you know how racing people are? You just kind of get to hanging out and
Yep.
got a lot in common and drink a beer too, and that's why we're all still here doing what we do, in my opinion. Because if it was up to my wife, I'd probably be an ex-racer and have pictures in my office would all be in a drawer.
I did that.
We'd have a camper and a house in
And a boat.
Texas on the beach somewhere.
But wait a minute. You
I'm
haven't
saying
told her.
like-
You haven't told her what this stuff costs yet.
No,
have you?
she knows. She works at the bank.
She knows.
Yeah. No, she knows. That's why I said, I always think of my race cars, honestly, as like classic cars. It's an investment. I'm not going to tell you how much, or at least within 60, 70%. But seriously, if you got a 67 Chevelle sitting in your garage, it's worth $25,000, or you have a real nice used late model or A mod that's worth the same amount of money, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Bottom line is that Chevelle isn't going to cost you a lot every month and every week when you go to the track, but you can rack up a lot of money with the race
yeah.
cars, week after week. And that's the way I look at it, is it's the initial investments there. How often can you afford to go play with it? And
Yep.
that's what I try to balance for the
Yep.
most part.
It's for me. It's I don't know. It's a whole lot of fun.
Somebody got me a beer, and I still am looking at an empty one, and she's over there staring at a full one.
We'll have to get Dave to get you a beverage. There he goes. We'll see.
Tell Dave.
She's like, what?
Dave's literally going to get me one. She's afraid she's going to end up on camera.
Oh.
Is that what it is? Do you need a beverage?
There's some women that are dying to get on the internet.
And your wife is quite content to be behind the scenes, isn't she?
That's probably okay.
All right. You talk. I'm going to go get him a beverage.
Okay.
Can you do this?
You just will take
So,
them.
yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Flavor.
She's got it right. It's ready to go.
So I really don't know about your history, Blake. Let's, how'd you get started in racing?
Well, like I said, way back was Grandpa taking me to Belleville and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just got a list of friends that I don't know how you could ever. If I started naming people, I'd forget half of them. And,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
but yeah, Wade Wagon Blast. I don't know if you've ever met him. He's one of the more fun people you'll ever meet. He's from Deschler, and he's one of the first people that really got me to coming and going to the races with him on a weekly basis. Like I said, I've been to Belleville and I'd seen some racing here and there, but Red Cloud was where we'd go every Friday night. And when I saw IMCA racing at Red Cloud, they had cruisers, hobby stocks, stock cars, and modifieds. And once in a while they'd have the CNCTA late models about 5 times a year probably. And that's when I kind of got hooked.
He was ready to go, huh?
Track race was always neat, but seeing like 5 classes a night and turn your mic back on. It's on. Oh.
Okay.
That'll help.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
So you
Now we got
start
them
over
on.
at
No,
this
no.
one, or-
How much did you miss? The CNCTA late models.
Oh, you didn't miss much.
No, the CNCTA late models. That was Jason Friesen's.
Yeah.
There was the Friesen Challenge or whatever series, which is crazy because it's like they sort of had a vision back then, and now, he's the biggest crate motor provider in the world, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, like I said, Red Cloud was where that all started. And then Deschler, like I said, Sunday nights at Deschler, that was awesome. Something about Deschler. I remember the Morrisons used to come to Deschler, and there were a lot of Salina guys. The Dower crew would come
Yeah.
down. I remember BJ Dower, he didn't come down every Sunday night, but when he did, he was going to
always
run
fun
up
to
front,
watch.
and
Yep.
that was his chance to run with the Nebraska guys too, because there was a lot of good solid Nebraska hobby stocks back in those days. And BJ kind of dominated around here, but when he'd go up north, you know, there
It
was
was a little tougher. Right?
oh yeah. One night at Red Cloud, BJ started right behind me, mid pack in the feature. Somebody on the high side spun out coming out of 3 on first lap. And I'd taken it clear to the bottom to avoid him. I hit that guy head on, and BJ hit me in the rear the same time because we were just nose to tail, and it pushed his motor through the firewall, and I had to have a new front hoop and radiator and all that. But that was some of my racing with BJ was he's like, I'm never following you again because you pretty well got me
Drove right into
I've
that
been
guy.
in 50 nights.
Yeah. You know, I worked for I was a truck driver back then, and I called on and I stopped in Deschler, and I stopped in Red Cloud, and I'd never raced at Red Cloud, but I went and finally saw that racetrack. Oh my God. I remember that being really high banked, but really kind of small. You went up there a couple of times at Red Cloud, didn't you, Bobby?
Oh yeah, Dad used to race there quite a bit.
Did he like it?
Yeah, it was fun.
If I
Back
remember
when-
right, the grandstands were kind of built into the ground.
Yeah,
They were cement.
yeah,
Yeah,
Just
cement.
cement stair steps up.
Yeah.
And,
yep,
and they had kind of a wooden grandstand on the
yep. That was back
on the
when
west end.
Craig Lockhart raced and Clayton Peterson and them guys were.
The Lockharts kind of ran that place.
Yeah, and then they took over
Yeah,
and
they
ran
had
the
a-
place. Yep,
Was that an 8-ball
yep,
late
Yep.
model, I think?
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I didn't see any of that, but when I used to go to Red Cloud, more of them they talked about a lot of good Grand National late model type racing up there back in the days. It was
Yep.
there was a lot of them guys, you know, that Osborne, Stockton, then you had Norton, and then them guys would kind of venture up north to Red Cloud, and it was kind of the Kansas-Nebraska clash up there
yeah.
sometimes, you know.
Do you think Red Cloud's gone for good? You think they could ever bring it back?
I was there not too long ago, and man,
Pretty rough.
yeah, you don't have anything to start with really, other than the fact that it is
Really.
what it is and where it always was. You know, there's no those. You know, they've let the grass and things grow between the cracks, and the old cement's just
Falling
laying
over.
forward and rolling down the hill, and nothing. But I got some pictures I can show you guys on my phone of a couple of 3 years ago when I was there. But firebush all the way around the racing surface, probably 10 foot tall. You know, just sad. But I mean,
Sad,
I think it's too far gone.
You know, and then
That place was so neat, though. I
It
mean,
was.
you know, you say Deschler's coming back. Got a few shows this year.
well, the fair board's always been in charge of Deschler, so they've always kept it workable. They've got a really nice grandstand. Last few years, they have literally filled that place up. And this year, I raced my sport mod there, and my family friends got there probably an hour early, and they sat on like the second row up and couldn't see, you know, through the fence and the guardrail because those aren't choice seats by any means. It was that full an hour early.
Really?
They fill every walkway. I mean, it's literally standing room only by the time. But they have a trailer race, and they get about 35 of them trailers. Toby Cruz promotes it,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and it's crazy. I mean, they'll lap the whole track with trailers and pickups and cars and just everything that they drag up there. And I mean, it's just insanity basically for
I know Toby
45
well.
or minutes or an hour basically. But we have a sport mod race. We run the heat races, and then they run the trailers out there, and everybody laps around. And they're literally if you got a pickup, there'll be 6-8 people in the back of the pickup, and every one of them will have a beer, waving at the crowd, riding around the track. And I mean, they're pretty much promoting it, you know. And
Yeah.
and then we run our feature, and then they come out and do the trailer race. But it's been, like I said, they don't need any advertisement because they couldn't put another person. They need more grandstands at this point. But that was fun, you know, running Deschler again. And my buddy Wade, he got his car totaled out that night. He couldn't wait to run Deschler, and that was the first show he got to run there in Deschler for years. And he had a car that he had about 4 or 5 nights on it, and somebody got up into the wall, and he went in the corner, you know, and hit him, and it.
Not good.
Oh yeah, pretty well totaled him out and was done for the year. But
You know, and then you mentioned Minneapolis. You know, I drove by that the other day, and half the bleachers are gone. I don't know if it'll ever. I know it's still for sale, but
are they
the longer
selling it off? Or
the longer the bleachers went down to Wichita, that drag strip lost some bleachers last year in that windstorm, and you know they're selling it off piece by piece. So I don't know. Definitely not a. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I
don't
mean,
know if it ever opened again.
in some ways, the dirt track, the grandstands are about all you need, other than the barriers, because dirt's everywhere. You make a surface, and I've made a couple out behind our farm. To be honest with you, we had what we called the Randall Low Banks. That's
the Randall Low.
Well, when I first bought my mini sprint, we had the wrong jets in the carburetors. Just still had stock jets, and we weren't smart enough to know the difference until somebody told us, and so we were doing a lot of tuning, and I basically built a track out in our wheat field. It was burned off, and then I went out with a scraper and made an oval and packed it in. And
really?
Yeah.
How big is this?
It's not there anymore, but
darn it!
I could build you one in an afternoon if you want to. If you want a late model track, I might need a week. But a mini sprint track, go-kart track, we could do that in hours. We got equipment to pull that off.
I need a practice track close by so I can learn to
The
point
crazy
the nose
part was
to the
the creek
infield.
was probably from here to the south side of this place. So if you'd have ever had an issue going into turn 1,
you'd have been wet.
Yeah, you'd have just been headed to the creek. There, no trees, no brush, but
just right in the drink.
That's where I learned though. And on a short track, you just turn that car and back it in there, and by the time, like I say, you think you're spinning out, you're just heading down the next straightaway. And about 2 laps of that, and you just kind of feel comfortable, and just can't say it'd have been faster. It'd have been 10 of us, but
is that all I need to do?
Drink a beer?
Maybe that too.
You want to build a track?
No.
We can do it.
No. Let's not start that.
I got a midget and a sport mod, and you bring your cars down. And I know who will win.
Yeah, 3 there.
Whoever drives the midget, but it'll still be fun.
Shoot, yeah, I'm all about having fun.
Problem with the midget is not very many people can get in that thing. I can barely fit in that baby.
Really?
Oh, I saw it. There's no way you
tight,
get
huh?
me in it, and I've even lost weight.
Well, like I said, you saw
gained some
you
and
saw how
lost
comfortable
some.
I was in it at Belleville. I would say if I was 75% up to speed, that would be, like I said, I'm not ashamed to admit that I've never been scared in a race car. I've never been scared to go door to door in any class I've ever raced and slide sideways. But that midget at Belleville, I couldn't
get comfortable.
Couldn't go fast enough to do what I needed to do and feel like I wasn't going to die. I mean, because you're seeing that stuff coming by you so fast.
Wow.
And everything's so twitchy. And I watched Rico Abreu, from my pit stall go by, and he's just sawing on that wheel. And I thought, when I went by there, I was not even turning the wheel. what? That's because I was going 30 mile an hour slower too. So.
Where'd you get the number from?
I started with number 20. First car I ever had was number 20, and that was a Tony Stewart deal. Next 2 years, number 20 in a hobby stock. Then he went to Toyota, and I couldn't do it.
Uh-oh.
I got to be honest.
Couldn't do it?
It was against everything I've ever stood for. But honestly, I went to 727. I ran the number 7 for 1 year in a hobby stock that I got from Wagon Blast. I ran it 3 times at McCool that year. That was all I raced the car. Sold it, or traded it for my first modified. But I just decided to go from 20 to number 7. Well, you know how number 7 is. There's about 500 of them. So I decided 727 was probably something I ought to go with. I had an uncle that was flying freight out of Bahrain. Started making pretty good money to go over there and fly during the war. I mean, that's pretty hostile territory, I mean, they were in a decent spot, but you weren't far from. So, and he flew 727s, and so it just was kind of a natural deal. He even gave me a hat, Boeing 727, And so I thought, well, that'll work. And then now Wade Wagenblast, who I've been friends with most of my racing career, he was always number 97 because David Murray was his hero growing up. Him and Troy Atwood from Smith Center, they started out in a cruiser. And then Troy went to a stock car and Wade went to a hobby stock, and they were both number 97. Well, then when Wade went to a sport mod, there was a couple other 97s. So he went to 797. He's got a little 7 with a big 97, and I got the big 7 with the little 27. So that's. That's kind of our little deal.
Okay, if that works.
You asked, so
I did. I wanted to know.
don't ask me anything if you don't want to know. 'Cause
I wanna know.
we're halfway through the second big beer. I'm probably going to tell you a bit.
We want to know. That's why we ask the questions here.
Are you getting Snapchats during the show? Or?
Yeah, he talks to me from time to time, and Dave's going to be
If I had my phone, I wouldn't have been talking this much. But
Dave's running the main camera for the Sunflower Classic in Hayes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he does a good job at that.
cool.
Holds the camera
You gonna
steady.
be up on that big scaffolding again?
Big scaffolding. You be on the big. Are you
No.
listening to us?
Bucket
Or are you
truck?
sleeping over there? Are you going to be on the ground? Are you listening to us? So are you going to be
wanna
on the
part of
ground?
this?
Are you on the ground or in the air? On the big camera. Next to the scores booth. Way up
is
high.
PB going to be narrating sound the whole time for you? Or?
Who's calling the races? Oh, okay. So you just mic them up? Yeah, Jerry Van Sickle, or that's him.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Is he coming?
And Mike Hughes.
I think Hughes retired, didn't he?
I think so.
Does Mike quit?
I think he
Really?
This is his
No,
last
it's
year.
gonna be
Okay,
his
this
last
is
year?
yeah, this is like his Tony Stewart
Farewell tour.
Farewell tour. Yeah.
Wow,
Goodbye,
Mike's-
Mike.
The Mike
Mike's been
Hughes,
doing that
you know
forever.
what? Mike Hughes is one of those guys I'll never forget. From
We've had him on the show,
That
but
guy
we've never
knows.
had him in
He-
person.
he was doing some Red Cloud stuff back in my day out there, and always done all the Norton and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
done all
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
I'll never forget. You guys remember WhoWon.com?
Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Oh
that was
my
some of my
God.
first racing. You know, the chat rooms and the message board. That was when you could really start, creating enemies on the internet with racing.
That's how it all started.
Who won? Yeah.
Hiding behind the keyboard. Nobody knew who you were.
I'll never forget when Facebook started. I told somebody one time, I'm like, I should invent Racebook, because that's all my Facebook is. Somebody's like, delete that right now and call somebody and do it. You'll be a billionaire. I'm like, yeah, that's.
I'll never forget back when that Who Won deal had started. We were at Beatrice, and I was standing beside some lady who didn't have a clue who she was, and we got to talking, and she found out that we were from Salina, and we raced at Salina Speedway every week, and she says, "You guys race at Salina Speedway every week?" Just from all the stuff that was on. Everybody knew about Salina Speedway back then.
Lots of drama.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh my God! Well,
That
and,
BJ Dower
yeah.
drama
Yeah,
back then.
yeah, it was a lot of it.
and Salina
too,
had
yeah.
its own little chat room too that would blow
Yep.
up and be all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
all over that. I don't know
Yeah.
how many times I got called a no drive and whatever on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't race. I say what I want on the internet. Nobody can say anything about my results if they don't see me race. No, I just remember Mike. He was Mike Man, and that was. There's some people I still remember them in racing from their handle on who won.
Oh yeah.
Boy, that thing
Yeah,
got
Mike's
brutal.
a
That's
good
for
guy.
sure. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I can remember times when I'd print off a couple pages of stuff and take to Red Cloud on Friday night and read to John Thompson in the pits, because that was when he was winning the national championship, and probably 03 or something like that,
Something like that,
03,
yeah.
04, and everybody's wanting to claim him, and everybody was talking like they were gonna, which nobody ever did. But
Yeah.
Now, what's he doing? What's he going to do this year? Anybody know?
I don't know.
as far as I know, he'll run some US MTS and C-Ray stuff.
I talked to him for a little
NCRA.
bit when he came up to the line and run the NCRA thing with C-Ray, and C-Ray's got some different rules. It doesn't fit everybody, and he wasn't very happy. But
Are they
be
still
good to
doing-
see him.
Same tire deal.
I'm not sure what
Still
they're-
run the chain links. That's, to me, that's
the
sort of that's what I've never thought was
yeah.
probably as conducive.
It's a big deal.
You go back to the regular tire, and then the power is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to change a spoiler or weight, you can. But when you let somebody run a tire that grips way better than yours,
They brought
they're-
NCRA to Salina, and they invited all the IMCA guys to run. Well, there was only like 3 or 4 guys that decided to run, and there was some top IMCA cars that were there, and yeah, they couldn't.
Oh,
Keep up.
I
Couldn't
guarantee
keep
you,
up.
there would have been a lot more cars at Belleville, modifieds over the years, had everybody run, a G60
Yeah.
tire. US MTS does that for a reason.
Yeah.
You might have more car, but you're still on equal tires,
Yeah.
and that's where the driver and the chassis setup comes in,
Exactly.
So what do you like?
Yeah.
You like a dry slick track? You like a big, heavy, tacky track? What fits you?
To be honest, I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm a real talented hot shoe driver. I really would rather race on this table than a tacky track because, to me, the setup and how good you are with your foot, and if you're able to lift before the corner and not drive clear into it to the floor, you're going to be faster most likely. That, to me, that's what. I don't know about what the fans want to see, but I've got a lot of people in my circle, so to speak. We don't have a ton of money, and so you start realizing what you like better racing-wise with what you have to work with. You realize what, just like you with your car, when you're running door-to-door with certain guys that normally might just walk away in a heavy situation, you realize, hey, I need a dry slick track. Then I can drive with these guys. I can do it with my foot and my.
My problem with a dry slick track is coming off the corner. I just can't baby it enough. It's my fault. But I like a dry slick track.
Well, your crew chief needs to get it where you get it turned in the center, and then you can floor it off the.
We won't go there tonight.
No. We're not going to argue about your setup tonight on the show.
I need more seat time. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
okay?
me too. Like I said, if I could find a sponsor that said, hey, whatever you spend every week racing, just send me a bill at the end of the month. And I'd race twice a week.
Oh, heck yeah.
And after a couple months, I'd be feeling like I was doing as good as I could do.
Are they out there?
Yeah, but not for guys like us.
Yeah, not
I don't
us.
know what it takes, but it's just like everything in life. There's about 20 of them guys, and there's about 2,000 of us. So good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, you never
I'm thankful
know.
for the ones I have on board with me. We have some fun. It's all family kind of stuff. It's a good time. Do I want to do better? Absolutely. Can I? Sure. Apply myself a little harder this year. We'll have some fun, Blake. I want you to come down.
I want to come down. Like I said, I'd love to race a little bit. The farming is tough because I swear we put up hay and have cattle along with spray and planting and harvest, and it seems like it rains and then it dries up about Friday, and then I'm working all weekend, and then it rains on Monday, and then it dries up about Friday. And I honestly, I've missed out on more opportunities to go racing or go see a race because I didn't do a whole lot throughout the week because I was waiting on it to dry out, and then all of a sudden about Thursday or Friday, it's
Bobby knows that.
again.
Bobby
I know
knows
where you're
that.
coming from. The guys I help are
yeah.
big farmers, and yep.
Any kind of ag business, spraying, fertilizer, any of that, it's going to be that way.
Yep.
Even working in an elevator, you'll experience that. You'll be real slow all week, and all of a sudden they'll start harvest on Friday, and you'll work 30 hours throughout the weekend. So.
Yep.
But.
How long you been farming? All your life?
Yeah, pretty much. That was a born into it type of deal. But definitely went to college for just a little bit and realized real quick that I wanted to be home farming with Dad. When you go to college for farm and ranch management, and you realize you'd be learning a lot more about farm and ranch management
At home.
on the farm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of one of those deals. Always had maybe a plan to do this or do that. Just to be honest, I don't want to bring it up, but I always wanted to work at BMS part-time. I always thought I'd just order a new car and I could work there through the winter and
Kind of missed that opportunity, didn't
I
you?
know. Well, I ain't driving 2 hours now.
We won't go there.
No, like I said, we said we weren't, but couldn't help it. It's funny how
I told yeah, we knew. Yeah, we asked you the questions we wanted. Well, I think we all wanted. No,
that's sad.
We all wanted something to do with racing. I mean, I wanted to go to NASCAR, not to drive, but to work. But
you look like a fuel man from way back.
Because I'm fat.
No, just you're not fat. You work out. You're stout. You've rode a bike more in the last month than I have in 10 years. I promise you.
I'm just trying to get some weight off me. That's all. I want to. People don't realize this, but you need to be somewhat in shape behind the wheel of one of these race cars.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah. Drive that midget a few laps. You got to be in shape to keep your
Problem with
head
that-
off of the rest.
The problem with that is if you got me in it, you'd never get me out. Not until I died or dieted some more. One of the
Yeah,
two.
well.
Bobby, you ever had any desire to play with midget stuff? I mean, I know you go to the Chili Bowl all the time. You got me hooked on that, but
Yeah, not real. I mean,
is it
Never
because
really
they seem
been a-
so complicated?
never
or?
really been a midget or a sprint car fan of either one. I guess just because there's not that much of it around here. I mean,
Isn't
you
that
really
odd? There's
don't
more
see
of them up
much it.
north than
Well,
there
you-
are down here.
Yeah.
Think about it. How many name? Well, you don't need to, but if you were to name to me right now, every IMCA guy that you potentially could see at Sliner Hayes from this area versus somebody you'd see at a sprint car or midget race, John Freeman's the only person I can think of that
Yeah.
you guys would list
Yeah.
that isn't from, and that's it. Me and
Yeah.
Garrett and I, have midgets. We race a couple times a year. We're just guys that
Yep.
are silly enough to want to be a part of that once in a while. And
John
You
has
know.
done a good job with his stuff. He's having fun. He enjoys
I would
it.
say honestly, he's gone a long ways. I mean,
Yep. He has.
I remember I met Kevin Swindell the night he won out here, and I would say John, between that night and the last night he ran this year, he would tell you that he is way faster and he's got stuff kind of dialed in. And
Uh-huh.
to me, if he goes to a 360 race now,
He's competitive.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's like the rest of us, I'm sure. He's
Yeah.
in a deal where
And that's what's-
he's against guys where it's like, hey, I'm going to do my best, but
That's what's bad when they bring the ASCS guys in. Well, he's so, outclassed
oh,
by what that
Well,
people that know him, think, oh, John, he really ain't that fast. Well, it's not him. It's
Oh.
It's everybody.
it's,
Yeah.
the ones
That's
he's
what I said,
racing
I mean.
against. But
Yeah.
yeah, you put him with the
swap
With his own
have him and Kevin Swindell swap
Oh,
cars
yeah.
that night and see who did
he'd
what.
be right-
I mean,
yeah,
that's,
he'd be right
that's what we'd
there.
all like to do. I think is
Yep.
say, could I just drive his car? Right, and
Yeah.
he drive mine, and then
Yeah.
we'll know.
Yep.
And if he still beats me, I'll say, okay,
yeah.
John,
you can't
it's
do
me.
it.
And John's probably one of the nicest guys you could ever meet.
John's a good
he's
guy.
he's a technician over at Bennett's, and just a good family guy. And
Something-
I've known him since he was a kid.
Yep.
Something I'll never forget is, Tim Passmore,
Yeah.
photographer from Belleville. He come up to me that night, and John's car's over there, and he says, "Look at the back of his wing. Do you know what that says?" And it says Dillagaff. And I'm, that you can figure that out on your own. But I rattled it off pretty quick. But he thought that was about the funniest thing he'd seen. But that's a good way to describe it. That's the attitude you need to have. It's sometimes that sometimes like what he's doing is like you going to a Lucas Oil late
Yeah.
model race
Yeah.
and unloading and saying,
Yeah.
Here we go.
"Yeah, I'm gonna do my best," But
Yeah.
sometimes it's thousands versus millions is what it comes down to.
And
Yep.
it's sad that in this sport, it's whatever you can spend. There's guys with new chassis all the time. You guys have done real well with your stuff. I mean, how old is that other car? You just finally got a new car. I know,
It's
but
gonna
I
be
mean,
its 6th year. Yep.
so and somebody else has
And-
got it in the family.
It's still gonna. It's
know,
still a
that's-
good car.
Kind of unheard of sometimes.
But like I
Yep.
said, I hate to really advertise much, but that's where the crate motors probably helped, hasn't it? I mean,
Oh yeah.
now you can say, we got a good piece. Let's focus on this now. And
Yep.
let's spend our money there because that's what's going to make us faster.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what we don't have that some of these guys do because we have the same crate motor they have. And that is the beauty of it. But like I said, I don't want to.
I know we don't want to harp about the crate
Like I
engine
said,
and
I
stuff.
hate to brag, but after a while, I mean, I resisted for a while, and then I finally realized that, man, that I'm in the group of guys that it makes sense, I
But-
wish somebody could build a $3,000 motor for me that ran just like my crate motor, and
ran
then
great.
I would buy it from him.
Yeah.
I'd be his biggest advertiser, but it just isn't that way right now.
One year, I don't remember whether it was Beatrice or Boone, Bobby and I were talking, and I realized then that we were in trouble with engines when the guys were building 421s, 420s, big stuff, and I knew that the cost of the engines was out of hand.
Yep.
I mean, I wasn't a prophet by any means, but I mean, 421 cubic inches and modified with 8-inch wide tires. Do you really
Yep.
need all that?
Yeah, we got one sitting in the back room that's all brand new, ready to go, and just sitting there collecting dust.
Well, That's the problem. Is sometimes you do need it, and if you have it,
Yeah.
you got it. And then sometimes you don't need it, and that's when you prove that.
Is that the one you guys bought up at Boone?
The second one. Yeah.
Is that the one you got caught with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a Boone auction motor? Or?
Yeah.
But it wasn't legal?
Yeah,
Nope.
They changed the rules over the winter.
Oh, boy.
They took away the
Titanium.
retainers. We didn't know it had on them until Dave Bryn
And that
told
made it
us.
run way better? Or?
Oh, I guess it did.
They got DQ'd with it.
Like roller tip rockers, right?
Yeah.
Boy, that motor runs way
Yeah.
better because we got roller
We
tip
got
rockers.
roller
on.
tip rockers with
We
titanium
don't
valve
stick
springers.
valves as much, but
Keepers.
Yeah.
it is illegal.
Stuck his magnet in there and it wouldn't stick.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Hey, Brian, come here.
Oops.
That was expensive.
You're right. Oh, well.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, of course, Brian,
Yeah. First time he'd ever been disqualified.
Dave Bren got him. That's our buddy.
Old Super Dave nailed
Yeah.
him.
Got him.
Yeah.
Nailed him.
He probably said, "You done that? You're not even improving anything."
You know what
with
Dave's
this.
favorite? You know what
It's not
Dave's,
legal.
you know what
I didn't
Dave's
know they were
favorite
on
line
there.
is? Know what you own.
Yeah.
There's,
And that
there
was,
is a lot
that
of
was
truth to
exactly the deal. That, yeah. We didn't know what we had. We just bought it.
that. I will confess, for any racer that doesn't, that sometimes I don't read the rule book that close. Like you said, I buy a lot of used stuff off the internet and put it together and things. You know, I mean,
And in their
it's
defense,
tough.
they changed that rule over the winter.
Oh yeah.
The engine was legal when it ran.
I knew a guy that went to Boone. His first time in a hobby stock, he'd raced it about twice. This is literally back in early 2000s. Qualified for the feature at Boone. Scott Weens out of Beatrice was his name. He used to race stock car for a while. Retired now. But hit first year in the car, rookie, primer gray, duct tape number, qualified for the feature, opening night at Boone, hobby stock. Rolling through the tent, roller tip rockers. Disqualified him. He's like, we're rolling the car out. People are calling me a cheater and giving me heck. He's like, I didn't know. I didn't know it was a rule. He's like, had no idea. You know. And he's like, I didn't like it. Made him run any better. It just, he's like, I didn't know that was the rules. You know.
Corey Lagroon kind of went through the same deal up there. The big problem they had with Chevelle lower control arms. I mean, they had that rule
Being turned or
yep, and they weren't. None of them were stamped the same.
yeah.
He got DQ'd and went in his trailer and got another one, stuck it on there, and the car was fine. I mean, So I mean, how do you? You can't measure all that stuff whenever you
No.
put it on there.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought to check the keepers?
Yeah.
And I mean,
The
seriously,
retainers, yeah.
the
I
retainers.
remember
So
way back, first time I'd ever been, one of the first time I'd ever been to Boone, and one of the first big stories I remember on whowon.com that had 5,000 comments. Troy Atwood went up there, and he'd run real good. He'd won the championship at Red Cloud that year and this and that. And he had gotten a wreck and tore the rear end up. And on his rear trailing arm mount, it had been welded back together. Well, it had too much
It's too long.
travel in the hole, and they thought he was trying to, create an advantage by making more adjustment. They just welded it together so they go race next week. They had no idea.
Well, and
And he
some of
got
that.
disqualified at Boone, and it was a quarter inch or something.
wow.
It wasn't even anything real blatant. It just.
I guess guys know that when they go to Boone, it's going to happen. You're going to you're going to get not DQ'd. You're going to get teched and checked good. I think part of that rests on the back of some of the racetracks that let so much stuff go throughout the year.
Yeah.
I mean, look, guys, when I first started racing, I had an illegal carburetor on way back in the 80s. And Don Petticoat grabbed me after I'd done really well in a race down in Hutch, and he says, what's this? And I tried to explain to him as vaguely as I could without getting caught. And he looked me square in the eye, and he said, get it off before you come back next week. And I think sometimes that's the way it ought to be handled as well, too, Give them a warning. Here, guy, before you come back next week. And if it's like this next week, then you're done. You're DQ'd for the night.
Well, I would assume we've all known guys over the years that have raced, been illegal, didn't anticipate running in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they didn't run by the rules because they didn't think they were going to be competitive. They just wanted to be there, run mid-pack or whatever, have fun. And, hey, these camel humps are legal, but I ain't buying another $700 head of sets. I'm going to go run, you know, and that's, you know, I wouldn't go to Boone because I might not be able to tell you if I have everything, you know. There's guys that way too.
And
like,
then you get the
I'm
guys.
not cheating, but I can't guarantee you everything's right. I mean, until a real tech inspector
Takes
combs
a look
your car
at it,
over
yeah.
and tells you.
And then you get the guy that paints the aluminum heads in the days before they were illegal, you know, to where hopefully you don't see him.
Get metal flakes from the.
Take a magnet. See you bye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's the metal flakes from the drill press that you sprinkle, and then you spray a little glue and a little paint, and pretty soon an aluminum intake, you know, magnet will
And
stick
hope
to
it
it.
sticks.
Yep.
Yeah, we've heard all that. Remember back in the claim days that people would weld the bolts on the bottom of your crank, you know, so you couldn't take nothing apart.
And then they'd plug up the fuel pump.
Just
they'd plug
people
up the
do
fuel
everything they
pump
could.
bill.
I bought a modified roller one time. Couldn't get it to run right. Had no idea it was wrong. Just kept looking like. Finally, I decided I'd change the fuel filter. When I took the filter out of the actual housing, they'd had to do it. It looked like silly putty on the outside of it. There's no way that stuff could have come through the. It was like somebody took a couple wads of gum or some silly putty, put it on the exit hole of the filter, stuck the filter back in, and that thing was lean as can be, and it wouldn't ever run right.
Oh, wow.
I took it apart, changed the filter, and it ran great ever since then. But I think whoever got rid of that chassis was wanting the next guy to blow their motor up with a. Just
Sure, I
hate to
don't
say it, but
doubt
not
it.
everybody's that straight, you know. I mean, I was lucky I discovered it before I went somewhere and blew it up, you know.
yeah.
Just
Yeah, you run one of those lean. You run alcohol?
no, we were gas at
Gas,
this
but
point.
even so, you run one of those lean, you're in
Oh,
trouble.
But
Yep.
so no spring show at Salina,
Not for me.
but is there a spring?
Yes,
Yeah.
2-day show.
Yeah.
No late
Big-
models.
Just IMCA.
April 1st and 2nd,
First
I think.
and second.
Yeah.
I can look that up.
Where's
You
that
guys
at?
talk. I could look it up.
Where's
Slime
that at?
Speedway.
Yeah, on the schedule with Hayes, Sunflower Classic.
The weekend after.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
right after.
Yeah.
So could you run Beatrice? It's kind of a dick.
What? I'm listening.
You run Beatrice, Deshler, and then go to Hayes, and then
And
to
then go to
Salina?
Salina,
Is
yeah.
that right?
For all.
Is it
yep.
11th and
Spring
12th of April?
What?
And then,
Beatrice? Yeah. Oh, no.
I think Beatrice, and then Deshler. Is it 11th and 12th? Or is this in March?
This is March.
So you're talking a couple, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's what Dusty was
Yeah.
talking about. Was he looked at the blocks on the calendar when he
Not
flipped
enough
and
days.
said, Beatrice is coming quick.
Yeah. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dirt Fest is the 1st and 2nd of April. So let me find out when RPM is. I'll tell you. That's what I'm doing is research.
It's the one right. It's
So
the
there will
weekend-
be a week in
it's
between.
weekend before that, I think.
They'll skip a week in between
Yeah.
them.
We have Beatrice, and then we have the mall show here. And then Hayes, and then Salina.
I had to.
And of course,
Bill had to run around the parking lot last time I was at the mall show. Remember that? I broke my steering wheel loose from the no power steering. We were trying to steer that thing in and out of the mall to leave. It was Sunday night when it was time to leave, and we were steering it, and all of a sudden it just broke off in my hand, and I broke all 3 studs off in the coupler. But I had a 31 spline or 20, you know, the big spline instead of the
Oh, okay.
5-sided deal. I had the 28 spline.
Yeah.
Bill was running all over the parking lot because I was one of the last people to leave.
Trying to-
And everybody was already packing their cars up, and he was running around the parking lot. Finally, we found him. I didn't even know who it
Yeah, it was
was.
probably raining or snowing or something,
it was
too.
raining.
Raining.
It's getting wet.
That's crazy. It seems
No,
like
there'd
every
been
year.
a snowstorm, and I came by myself that day. I'd drive all the way home. Remember that?
yeah.
It was a stormy.
It was nasty.
I decided my mall show career might be over.
Might be
at that point.
So what do you think? We're gonna run out of time here in a minute. It don't matter about time for us here, but what do you think, Rico or Bell or Larson? You think they're gonna come back to Belleville this year since they're doing so? Since they've branched out and grown so much, you think they'll be back for the Chad McDaniel race? You think they'll be back for the Midget Nationals?
Yeah, the Chad McDaniel race is probably a lot more probable than anything because it's not a weekend. With their NASCAR schedules, Clausen, you didn't mention Clausen.
No, I didn't.
He's running the 200. Have you seen that? Brian Clausen has scheduled to run 200 races this year.
Wow.
Including the Indy 500. But he's already run, 15 races and won 5 or 6 or something like that. Wingless sprints, sprint cars, started with the Chili Bowl and the midget. But between a midget, sprints, wingless and non-wing, and like I said, the Indy deal, he's got a 200 race schedule, and that's his challenge this year. And he's got a heck of a start. He's coming out of the gate. He's at Arizona next weekend at I think it's Canyon Speedway Park, and he's running wing 410 and a wingless USAC 410 sprint. But it's
crazy.
Just, yeah.
200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture on my phone of him and Chris Bell sitting side by side at Beloit last year. And Bell had already won the truck race at Eldora, and Clausen had qualified for the Indy 500, obviously.
Right.
And I took that picture and I sent it to a few friends. I'm like, how many times can you sit in Beloit, Kansas, which is 15 minutes from my house, and see Chris Bell and Brian Clausen sitting side by side in their midgets getting ready to go out to qualify? You know, I mean, I just couldn't believe what was actually happening right in front of me.
That's the thing with the midget racing group is there's such a wide range of people that participate with it, you know?
Yep.
That's a stepping stone class. I mean, especially Keith Kuntz, for sure. Keith Kuntz's drivers are basically kind of in those seats to prove
where they're going to go next
with Toyota, what they can do and where they're going to go. There's no doubt about it. I mean, everybody's going to get an opportunity, but the guys that find their way to those seats,
they're going to go.
Yeah, well, look at Chris and Rico. You know, I think Tanner Thorson, he was on the show with you guys a couple of years ago when you interviewed him.
Yep.
If he keeps winning and wants to go, I'm not guaranteeing every dirt driver wants to go to NASCAR, though. You know,
No.
I mean, you see enough of that. I mean, if it's not about money, some families, it's not about, hey, I'm going to go be a millionaire. We already are, that's why he's racing for Kuntz. I mean, there's a few guys that get in that seat because they got the money to be there. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you can prove that you can be fast and win races, then, money isn't a problem. It's when you have a lot of money and you get in a ride and then you run in the back, it's fairly obvious that
you run out of
that's why you're there, I mean, no doubt about it. But
Bobby, anything else? You want to wrap this up? Or
Yeah.
you guys coming to Beloit this year for the Chato?
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm going to see if we can't. I want to try and take the show on the road again.
That would be
and
awesome.
do those interviews like we did 2 years ago.
That was fun.
That was fun. Last year we had to record everything, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But I'd rather do it live if we can.
Yeah.
How'd we pull that off 2 years ago? Do you
I
remember?
ain't sure.
I think it was a Tuesday night, and you had it live. And you just did the show right there at
Yeah,
Beloit.
it was a Tuesday night.
What's the schedule this year? Do you know?
Well, I actually have heard that they're talking about running another race.
Really?
Beloit has typically been on Tuesday, and then they've gone to Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Belleville. Now they're talking about moving Beloit to Wednesday and going to run a different track on Tuesday. Fairbury, Nebraska, or Deschler.
Oh, yeah.
And
Really?
that's the last I heard.
Okay.
I heard one story that said they were going to run Fairbury, another one said they were going to run Deschler. But one way or the other, they were going to run that on Tuesday and move Beloit to a Wednesday. And they'd still be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Belleville.
Try to get everybody in here to do the whole
One
thing.
more race is just going to drag that many cars in. Because, I mean, they pay well. And, you're going to make the trip up here, even if it's $1,000 to start the feature or $1,000 tow money, it's
Yep.
that's worth your trip. I mean, if that's what it comes down to. But I'll be interested to see. We'll definitely keep you guys updated on what goes on there, because I was talking to Brady Bacon the other night, and he had listed his schedule, and I said, hey, they're thinking about doing another race this week, and he says, hey, man, that would be awesome if we can run another race while we're already there.
Yep.
That's a no-brainer. It's just that's why they're here.
That'll bring that many more cars here. That'll give them an opportunity to win back some
definitely.
time.
I really think that'll help the count, no matter what.
Well, Blake, hope to see you at a race close by this year. Always a lot of fun.
Like I said, until somebody tells us we can't go racing anymore, we'll see you somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't have a wife to tell you what to do and where to go, so that probably.
No,
her sister's getting married in the fall, so there'll be a couple weekends where they're off on a dress shopping mission or a bachelorette party or something. We could surely go racing.
Call me. We'll go.
She'd probably rather I was racing than off with my buddies. So.
Call me. We'll go racing.
We can do her.
Right now, my schedule's wide open.
Is Mayetta going to run, you guys?
Yeah, 4 times.
We need to go to Mayetta sometime.
Let's go.
My buddy Steve Durham runs
You
Mayetta. Oh, sure. Well, not really. Okay, I'm proud to stick with my car and just do my best to go fast in it. And you do your best to go fast in yours.
It would probably help me to hot lap my own stuff.
Maybe in hot laps we should just go out, you and I, and
play.
See who can win.
Sure. They'll let us. I know people.
You got bigger tires and.
Oh, here we go. It's always going to be the guy with the bigger brakes. Who uses
brakes? Are you
brakes?
still on a 602?
No.
You went to the big boy?
Yeah, I had to.
You need one of them USMTS crate motors. Them things look. That's what I think would be fun someday in a modified, if depending on what you could run class wise. Have you seen them things?
I think so. Which one is it?
It's what they call the USMTS crate motor. I can't think of the name of it, but it's a big boy, and it's about 10 grand. And
I think that's the CT520. I need to be careful.
Yeah,
is it
525.
CT525? Yeah.
That's.
Now we're talking
onboard
computer for the injection.
Me
and all
Bill
that
hit
stuff.
the lottery. We're each going to have one of them.
That's right. You got to play the lottery. I played a couple of times.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be the next 40 billionaire thingy, but it didn't happen to me. So.
We'll have Joe Cleveland haul us to Lucas Oil Speedway, and we'll run.
I think his rig's up for sale.
Well, Bobby
can buy it.
Bobby could buy it. He's crew chief. He ought to own the truck and trailer and all the tools, scales.
It'd
He's
be a
got
good time.
scales.
Now we're dreaming. I guess it doesn't hurt. I guess it doesn't hurt to dream, right?
But I was just saying, you don't have any more guests on this show. They're going to team up on me.
I think it's funny.
Thanks a lot.
I got him turning red. It's all good. David, you got anything for our guest here? No? Okay. You going to be out at Hayes, you think?
There's a good chance I'll be there, whether my car is there or not. That's my always saying. I don't know if I'll have my car there, but.
Do I have to sit down with your wife and get your schedule okayed?
Yeah, good luck with that. You get about as far as I do, but.
There's a reason I don't have one of those.
We take the distance we get and add it together, and maybe I'll be at Salina for the Topless show.
There you go.
That's. I'm gonna filter that comment. Her mom might be listening. She said her mom wanted to listen to see if I'd say anything funny.
Well, did you?
I hope not. It wasn't anywhere near racing related if she thought it was funny. Let's put it that. I'm sure she knows that her son-in-law is still who he always was at this point.
Who's that?
I do appreciate you having me on. Dusty wants to come back sometime.
Well, I guess I apologize for that. You and I talked about it, and
he
then
I felt bad, and I was like, "Don't feel bad." And,
I got really cocky with Bobby, arrogant. He goes, "How you got somebody coming from out way up there?" And I said, "Because I'm that good."
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't.
Well, when we discussed that, I didn't know you were going to say 4 days from now. So 5, 6, whatever.
When you're talking to me about this show, you got to be ready.
No, I was. I'm here. I'm ready for another beer.
Well, we're gonna have another one here in a minute.
All right. She probably thinks I need to have supper. It would be a good.
Yeah, they serve dinner here. Actually, she's eating.
She got a plate of loaded nachos. I'm pretty sure.
She's kind of happy over there.
She finished her beer.
Didn't save you anything, did you?
You know, the first feature race I ever won was at Belleville on a small track. And during my interview, I said, he goes, "You got anything else?" I said, "Yep. I love you, honey. Have a good time
Really?
up there tonight."
You got that in?
I did.
That's a high five right there.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah. So many guys forget that.
Well, I was running out of things to say, and I just thought, how can I embarrass my wife? Threw that out there.
Yeah. Still love her, right?
Oh, definitely.
There you go. What do you think,
together
Bobby?
Like 12 years. I would have gave up by now if that wasn't the case. Bobby's got a new CT 525 ordered. He's going to run that thing.
Put that in that one?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh, man.
Is Sea-Ray going to run at Salina this year?
I don't know. That was kind of an impromptu Tuesday afternoon kind of thing.
Yeah, that was thrown
kinda
together
happened.
really quick.
And it happened. And I got to tell you, I'll be real honest with you. I didn't think they'd have 5 cars show up, but
I
they
didn't
brought a
either.
house full.
They did.
I mean, I think we had 30 cars, didn't we?
I think there was. Yep.
You know, I mean, I got to tell you, I was thinking fairly negative back then, and I didn't think he'd have any cars.
With it being a last-minute deal like that,
Those boys showed up to race,
he pulled
too.
it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do, but like I said, it seems like they're primarily, the bigger tracks, or they're maybe farther south,
Yeah.
Enid and down there.
Yeah.
But, some of them guys, like I said, we get matched up on the tires. You run some races here in Hayes and stuff with bigger horsepower cars, a smaller track.
Yep.
You're going to find out,
The
I think,
tires.
that, there was guys that went down to Florida with crate motors and ran with those guys.
I started my racing career down in Hutch, and then I came back to Salina Speedway. And Salina's always been a tough track to race on, sort of. It's fast, but the corners are fairly tight, And I don't know how you get a car set up to work. I mean, I'm getting there. I'm learning. I'm proof that you can teach me new things.
Do you know
but
what I've been told about how to run Salina?
What?
Drive the piss out of it in 1 and 2, and then just kind of take what you can get in 3 and 4.
3 and 4 is different.
Yeah, 3
My
and 4
buddy
is
Dusty
always
talks about
has been that way.
Talks about the skateboard ramp.
Yeah,
He's like,
there's-
if you want to get on the internet, hit that skateboard ramp right in front of Branson Arnder, and you'll be right there on the first picture on Facebook.
Off of 1 and 2, the skateboard.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there, 1 and
You
2.
can run up high on that thing, throw a little mud in the stands, and then diamond it off.
Diamond
You'll
it
drive
off.
by everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
And 3 and 4, there were days in the old days where it'd slick off because Chuck told me it was because of the wind that blew across the racetrack all the time. 3 and 4 would slick off quicker than 1 and 2, and I could set the car up to get into 3 and 4 just by letting off the gas, and it turned sideways.
Yeah.
And woo! Here we go.
Yeah, to me, 3 and 4 is kind of more. Most racetracks I've been on, that's more the way they work. You bottom, top, find the grip, but kind of smooth in there. 1 and 2, I mean, you just need to drive in there and turn and stand in it, and that if your car turns.
I think some of that too is it doesn't have a big concrete wall you're staring at too.
Beloit's always been that way. I could always drive down in 1 and 2 at Beloit, and if you kind of slide off, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You come out of 4, there is
You
a
better have
cement
it
wall, and
turned,
it
yeah.
stops.
You better turn it before you get to that wall.
Definitely. But yeah, it is crazy how that gets in your mind. I mean,
it does.
Be nice if you could just not see any of that and just drive. And
That wall doesn't move.
no, well, it will, but you got to hit it really hard.
You can bump into other guys
I don't
on the
think you can move
racetrack,
the wall
it's
with
not
a crate
quite so
motor.
bad. You don't think
You
you can
gotta
move
have
the wall
an
with a crate motor? You got an open
No,
motor to
you
move
got to
the
have
wall?
an Eric Hogland crate killer.
A big snorting hog
Yeah.
under the yeah, I know.
You gotta have
No.
a Tyler Fry motor to move the
Oh.
wall.
Blake, thanks a lot for coming down tonight. Good luck this year. I mean,
been
we'll
fun.
see you somewhere. I hope you come down to Salina and race with us.
Can
Some.
I
I'll be
start any more
around.
fires before we leave? Or?
I don't care. Go ahead.
No, I'm kidding. We talk about a few of these guys. They'll be calling you wanting to come down and defend themselves.
Bring them. That's what it's about.
You know, Tyler's got a brand new Harris.
No.
Yep.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be.
No doubt he can drive. Well,
Yeah, it's going to be a
it's not. It
gonna
ain't
be
no
a
BMS. I'll promise you that.
no.
But no,
different
Tyler will
one.
do good. No doubt about it. BSB will have Tyler going fast, and Troy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Troy will be the man.
Troy knows his
He'll
stuff.
wrap his mind around that thing, and he'll have him fast.
Yep. He will.
Tyler will win some A-Mod races. I promise you.
I think when he was on the show here a few weeks ago, when I had him winning 5,
Yeah.
I picked him to win.
That was your pick. Was five
yeah.
5 at Sliner or 5?
No, just
Five
five.
in his career.
I had him
this
picked to
year.
win 5.
5 in his season.
5 features.
Be interesting to see.
Yep.
To be honest, I think you're probably underestimating him.
Think. Never know.
Tough crowd he's going to be racing with. He's good, though.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's the thing.
I don't wish him any bad luck.
When
by all.
you talk about anybody's ability and talent and you're bragging on them, it's hard to do that and not, I'm not saying Corey and every other, driver out there isn't just as good or isn't going to be able to do. But I if anybody thinks Tyler's going to jump in an A mod and not run well, they're going to be disappointed. 'Cause he's going to be up front, no doubt about
Having
it.
the open motor will be a challenge
You think so?
for him, I think. Yep.
Okay.
You think coming from a sport mod maybe can keep the power down and hook it up? And
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know Billy Fisher, I think, built the motor for
Yeah.
him. He's a pretty smart guy. I'm sure he's got something.
So it's always
You know,
amazed
it's
me
gonna
about the
be-
crate motor. Why can't you back the power down on an open motor
Well, that's just
and,
where I was going to go with this.
and
Why
still
don't-
get the torque?
Why don't we
That's
get
all
some
they-
engine builders on this thing?
That's all they did. I mean, the guys were trying to do that, but yeah, I don't know. And there again, it all goes back to, having so much weight off the front of the car too, with the aluminum heads and the motor being lighter. I mean, I don't know.
Well, like I said, I'll give Fry's credit for one thing for sure is they'll figure out how to
Oh,
make
yeah.
that thing set up and work.
They will.
If you run certain stagger, they might try something totally different
Yeah.
and outrun you, and you'll just shake your head like we would never do that. And
Yep.
Tyler's like, "Well, I did, and I beat you."
Yep.
So that's the way it goes. That's why you have them scales.
Yeah, Tyler, he's a good shoe. Got to thank them. They've helped Curtis along the way a lot. They've
Oh, yeah.
come over and gave us pointers all the time, and is always helping out. They're great people.
Oh, he did the same thing to Ryan. He helped
Yep.
him out tremendously.
Yep.
Loaned him a set of shocks out in Hayes one night. Said, "Here, try these."
Oh, I promise you, there have been times where I was busy in the tractor trying to, wrap my mind around a racing deal, and Troy was tired of my phone ringing on his because he's like, "Hello," like, "What the hell do you want now?" Pretty much. No, Troy. I mean, like I said, there isn't too many people I know that have their mind in the setup of a race car any more than that. And know
Yep.
we can all figure out the way a modified works and all that, but to watch the track and watch the car and really be able to know throughout the night what to do, that's
Study it.
that's
Study
what's
it pretty hard.
valuable. That's I race and I come in from the heat race and says, "What do you want to do? Is it tight? It's loose?" Like, it's tight down here. It's loose down here. I don't know. I just need to drive it. I can't tell you whether we should raise a bar, lower a bar, raise the tire pressure.
Sounds like you've been talking to Bobby. Go drive it.
Well, to a certain extent, it's kind of that way. And when you can go run 2-3 nights a week, that go drive it happens, and then all of a sudden you're feeling what you're feeling, and you're able to say,
Yep.
"Hey,
It's seat time. Makes a
tight,
big
loose,
difference. Yep.
Whatever. Let's do this. Let's do that." But that's what's tough is I don't want to dial myself out. If I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
You could do
You've
that.
never
pretty
done that,
quickly.
have you?
Oh, yeah.
Cars,
Oh, yeah.
cars got a lot of adjustments now, don't they?
Yeah.
Too many.
I wish they would take some out of it. To
Yeah.
be honest with you, like, don't ever touch any of this.
Yeah, just
It won't
weld-
be right. Just
weld all
stay
them-
with these 3 holes on
Weld
both
all them holes
sides.
shut. Yep.
Stay with these shocks.
Yep.
And leave it alone. So where's NASCAR going next time?
Where do they go?
I would assume
I don't know.
probably California or Las
Vegas.
Vegas,
They go to
or
Vegas.
Arizona.
Las Vegas.
They normally always go out west after the Daytona deal.
I didn't look at the schedule.
because they were interviewing Kyle Busch, and he was talking about going home.
Going home.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Who you going to pick to win?
In Vegas. Kevin Harvick.
Think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Just that he's always fast.
What do you think?
I'll pick Kurt Busch. Stay with the same team.
I'll go to Junior, of course. But I will switch this year from time to
Junior
time.
wins, he'll be leading the points.
I know.
Yeah.
So, Blake, thanks a lot for coming down tonight. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
Blake,
talking
thanks.
4 days ago, and
No,
I
had a
got you
good
here
time.
pretty quick, but
No problem.
you never know.
I'd be glad to come back anytime.
Oh, we'll do it again. We'll put you on the radio.
I got a
sometime.
better filter than I thought. Like I said, I had to do the tenure with your in-laws at supper deal. So.
You did well. Good luck this year, and hopefully you'll come down and race with us some.
Definitely, you too. Be glad to be back on the side of your car again.
Thanks for all your help. I didn't want to go there, but sponsors mean a lot to us and me, and I appreciate all your help. So,
like I said, it's not ever going to be enough.
And I haven't told anybody about the colors yet, so we'll just wait and see how it shows up. But I know you wanted me to stay black, but that was an old body. And
I know. I'm looking at that pool table. It's going to be forest green with some orange and maybe a little pink.
No. I'm colorblind, so it wouldn't matter, but there won't be no green on it. Not happening. Bobby, thanks a lot. Great job as always. Blake, thank you so much for coming down. Really,
I got to apologize to Bobby. I feel like he didn't get to talk as much.
Oh, he did fine. Hey, any sponsors that you want to thank real quick?
No, not necessarily, to be honest with you. Just my buddies that helped me out.
Okay.
Wade Wagonblast, Steve Durham, Dusty Blake, Austin Carter. Like I said, I could list buddies that I race with that have helped me out. I hate to because I'll forget.
You'll forget somebody. Get Dusty down here sometime. We'll put him on the program.
Oh yeah,
and you again.
He definitely wanted to come down, and like I said, felt bad and I had to convince him he wasn't putting us in a bind because, like I said, I could probably talk enough for both of us.
It was his birthday. I saw that this morning. I was like,
yeah.
I could probably record our conversation on the way home. It might be as interesting as our show now.
Sure, go ahead.
Been hanging out since 7.
Thanks, Dave, for putting this thing together. We'll see you in a couple weeks. For Bobby Potts, Blake McMillan, Bill Gritz saying so long. See you in a couple weeks right here on In the Zone's Race Talk Live online.